Welcome to Can I Park Here? Brought to you by FindAFashionTruck.com. Nashay and Estrell's mission is to inspire future and existing small business owners. They don't claim to be experts. They're simply trying to figure this all out, just like you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Can I Park Here podcast that could be found on StartAFashionTruck.com. My name is Nashay, and I'm here with
Estrell.
Hey, I hope you guys are doing amazing. I know we are in the DC area because we have 70-degree weather.
Boo.
Don't be jealous. No snow, no nothing. We had a little rain today and it lasted like 30 minutes. So, yeah, this is like spring. But anywho, we have a great guest on today. She's like, I like her like energy. Like you could tell like she's someone that gets stuff done.
Yeah, she actually sells LuLaRoe clothing, and she decided to sell that because she feels that, you know, they actually provide clothing for all shapes and sizes. And that's a passion of hers, to make women feel beautiful. So she decided to stick strictly with the LuLaRoe brand in the clothing, in the mobile boutique.
Yeah. So I think, this differs from some of the other trucks because, you know, she's specifically selling like one brand, whereas other people I guess go to like Magic and then have like multiple brands in there. But as of right now, she's like a LuLaRoe truck without being called a LuLaRoe truck, which was smart. But we'll get into that in the show.
Right. Also, folks, this is our 70th episode. How awesome is that?
Woo-hoo, 70.
Thanks so much for supporting us.
That is like crazy pants. 70.
You like the word crazy pants, don't you?
I do. Crazy pants and banana pants.
Okay.
I don't know. Those words just make me happy.
Ignore her words, people. Ignore her words.
Okay.
But keeping on the subject of supporting us, please know that you can help the show out by visiting our Patreon page and pledging to the podcast to support us. You can find us on Patreon at startafashionTruck.com/Patreon, Patreon. So let's get into this episode and hear Lisa talk about her LuLaRoe mobile boutique.
Wait, before we do that, so for some reason, when you go into the Can I Park Here podcast in the podcast app, you know how they usually list comments by the date they were published? Well, for some reason, like 2015, 16, and 17, it's all in a random order. It's not alphabetically by subject line. It's not by date. I don't know if it's just my phone messing up or whatever. But as I was scrolling through, because I was like, what's going on? Because I wanted to see if we have a comment. I found a comment in the middle of all the comments that was submitted on February 22nd, 2017. And it says, for the title, "Such Great Information." And then the paragraph says, "Thanks so much, ladies, for all of your wonderful information for aspiring boutique business owners. I adore you guys and love all of the, quote, nuggets." Sorry, Estrell. And encouragement you provide. Thank you for all of your hard work. And this is from SLH Porter. Thank you. Thank you for that support.
Thank you for the review.
We'll work on Estrell. She knows she loves those nuggets. Okay.
Oh, God.
And we have another one from February 11th, 2017. It says, it's from Splat217. It says, "I love this podcast. Great podcast. I own a fashion truck and I find this podcast super helpful and inspiring. Estrell and Nashay are awesome. Thank you. Thanks, you guys." Thank you, Splat217. We really, really appreciate it. And then I don't know if I read this one, but I'll make this the last one. It's from G Baby 07. Did I already read that one?
Yeah, you read that one already.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks again, G Baby. So, anywho, we love your comments. They kind of keep us going and motivated. So, please continue to do that. We really appreciate it. All right. Now let's get to the episode.
Here we go.
Hello, everyone. We have Lisa here from Take a Peek Mobile Boutique. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So before we start talking about the mobile boutique, can you tell the listeners a little bit about you before the boutique?
Sure. So I am a mom. I have two small girls, Sophia and Ava. They're 6 and 4. And my full-time job, I oversee the HR function for a family-owned business here in St. Louis, and we sell books into schools across the country.
So you still have your 9 to 5?
I still have my 9 to 5. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Initially, I wasn't necessarily looking for a replacement for that 9 to 5. Initially going into this, I just really wanted to kind of find something to kind of be creative with. And I've always loved fashion. And I've been super inspired by all the mobile boutiques and fashion trucks that have kind of, popped up over the past few years. And here in St. Louis, we have 9 now. And so to see kind of this evolution of these fashion trucks and to see how that has progressed, it's been really neat. And, I found myself every time I'd see a fashion truck post that they would be somewhere, I would go and I would talk to the shop owner and I'd want to know everything I could about their business and what they were doing. And so it got to a point where I kind of said, gosh, I should do this. I should totally do this.
So at what point did you say, like, you know what, I think this might be kind of a good kind of almost side and weekend gig? Was it like a year ago, 6 months ago?
Yeah, I would say about between 6 to 8 months ago. I like I said, I continued to visit all the trucks and I was just talking about it so much. I started listening to your all's podcast and I was anyone who was around, I was talking with them about that. And so my husband, being around all the time, he got to hear a lot of, the conversation. And so finally he said to me one day, he said, when are you just going to do it? And I said, what? And he's like, you keep talking about this. Why don't you actually take that next step and see what it's about? And so at first I was a little nervous because I do have a 9 to 5 that I absolutely love. But then at the end of the day, I was really excited about, doing this and kind of involving my kids. I thought it'd be a great lesson in entrepreneurship and something that I'm really passionate about, working for a family-owned business. It's something that they've instilled in me for sure. And so I thought this could be a really great way to get them involved in business at an early age and for them to see, real hands-on experience as to what it takes to run a business. So they are, nights and weekends, they come to events with me. They're helping in the truck. My 6-year-old is really great at giving style advice to people, whether they want it or not. But it's a lot of fun. They help package orders. We do some Facebook Live sales. They get involved with that. So it's been really neat to see their involvement. But yeah, so my husband kind of said, you should do this. And I just kind of kept saying, oh, well, I'll look into it. And he comes to me one day and says, I found a truck. And I said, what? And he said, I found a truck. It's in Minneapolis and we should go see it. So having him kind of, I guess, force me to take that next step is really kind of how it happened. Because I think I probably would still be talking about it today if it wasn't for him kind of believing in me and believing in me doing this.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely amazing because sometimes you need that other person to give you that extra little push. And it sounds like he was like, no, you're not going to give up on this.
Part of it was probably selfish. He probably was tired of hearing me talk about it.
Right.
How can I get her to stop talking about this? Let me just make her do it.
But it's so funny because a lot of us, we do, we're like, oh man, I wish I could do this or I want to do this. And we talk about it forever, but it's like maybe that fear or something prevents us from taking that next step.
Yeah, totally.
And you said it's been like 8 months. That is a very short time period to come up with the idea and then have the truck renovated and launched and everything.
Yes.
So
yes.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Anyone that knows me knows that once I get my mind to something, or put my mind towards something rather, I move quickly. I'm a sense of urgency type of person. So at work, people give me a hard time a lot about that. So I want it to have happened yesterday. So yeah, with the truck. So we found a couple trucks, and one was here locally, and it was already a fashion truck. And so we looked at it, and it was in okay shape, but it wasn't really what I had envisioned. And so we knew going into this that we wanted to find a truck that had all the bells and whistles already. We didn't want to do a big build out. So that was intentional in going into this, knowing that we both of us work 9 to 5s, and we weren't, going to be giving that up to pursue this. So we wanted to find something that was kind of move-in ready, that we could get, and didn't need to put a lot of work towards. So we knew that would be a hard task. And honestly, when we set out to do that, I thought it would take us a year or more to find a truck that was in that type of condition. So we stumbled upon the truck a lot sooner than I think we thought we were going to. So things kind of took off full steam ahead from there. So we looked at the truck here locally, wasn't a fit. And then my husband was just kind of Googling, box trucks for sale, fashion trucks for sale. And he came upon this website, which neither one of us can remember the name of the site, but it is basically a site where, kind of there's an agent involved in helping you sell your truck. And so we saw this truck. The build out was beautiful on the inside. It was already a fashion truck. But the images were blurred, and they obviously didn't say who the truck, what the name of the truck or the business was. And you had to contact the agent. And so we were looking at that, and it had a hefty price tag on it. And we thought, gosh, we wish we just knew the owners, and that we could kind of go through them and talk through them and get away from this paying these agent fees. Is there a way we could do that? So my husband started, he looked at the picture of the truck and literally just started like searching Google images, and we were able to stumble upon the owners. And so we sent them a message and crossed our fingers, and they messaged back, and they were super nice and supportive and happy to chat with us. So we had a few phone calls. It was a husband and wife, and they had a fashion truck. They have one boutique in Minneapolis, and they were getting ready to open their second. And so they started with the truck, and they were growing the brick and mortar side of it, and they just didn't have the time anymore for the truck. And so they didn't want to alarm customers locally and with anyone thinking that the business was not going well. So that's why they didn't want to put the truck up with the name for sale. But yeah, they were really excited, and they were really passionate about someone else getting the truck that was going to, kind of use it for the same purpose. I guess they had talked to a few folks who wanted to, gut it and make it an ice cream truck, or gut it and do something different to it. And the couple had put a lot of their blood, sweat, and tears into remodeling this truck. So it was kind of their baby. So they really wanted, almost to kind of pass it off to someone who, who's going to take care of it and who was going to use it with that intent. So we had a few phone calls with them, and then, it was kind of back to that. Well, should we do this? It's in Minneapolis. Like that's kind of far from St. Louis. So we bought one-way tickets up to Minneapolis. They picked us up at the airport. We went, looked at the truck, asked them a ton of questions just about, the industry and business in general. And they were really great. And went to lunch, bought the truck, went to the DMV, went to Target, bought a beanbag so I could sit on it, and we drove that sucker home.
Wow.
So it was about an 18-hour drive, back from Minneapolis to St. Louis. And, we flew out on a Tuesday morning, and we arrived back in St. Louis Wednesday morning at 5. We showered and got ready and went to work.
Wow.
So it was quite the adventure.
A whirlwind. And
yes.
So now, number one, I have to say I love the truck because it has like, I'm assuming that's like kind of like the take a peek is from like the peacock design.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
And so how did you come up with that?
So when we got the truck, it had this beautiful wrap on it, and I asked the owners, I said, would you be comfortable if we were able to salvage as much of this wrap as we possibly could? And if I could think of, a name or a logo or something that would just kind of cover up your current existing one so that we could salvage as much of the wrap as possible. And so they were cool with that. And so I started just, Google searching, I probably went through 100 different boutique names, truck names, and they were already taken. I would be driving down the street and think, oh my gosh, this is such a great name for a truck. And I would, pull over and I'd get my phone out and I would search for it. Of course it was taken. So I was getting my hair done one day and I was telling my hairstylist, she and I have this great relationship and I was telling her about the truck and I said, gosh, I'm just really having a hard time thinking of a name and everything I come up with has been taken. And she just, within seconds says, have you ever, what about Take a Peek Boutique? And I thought, well, that's really catchy. How did you just come up with that like that? So I searched for it and there is a Take a Peek Boutique. And so I thought, well, Take a Peek Mobile Boutique. There it is. And so I came up with the name first and then someone I work with who's a designer, I said, hey, after hours, can I pay you? And can you help me come up with a design? Here's the name. And so I had kind of shown him, I started a Pinterest board and I just started pulling a bunch of things that I loved and ideas. And this peacocks just kept coming to me. And so I just kept, thinking of this peacock idea. And so he incorporated that peacock feather into the logo. And so we were able to use, so really that big peacock feather logo that's on the truck, that's covering up the existing design and logo that was there. So that blue, that teal that you see that's wrapped around the truck, that was the existing wrap that we just kind of repurposed.
It looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, it turned out really great. I was really happy with it.
Now, for your inventory, you sell LuLaRoe, right?
I do.
Am I
yes.
saying that correctly?
Yes. Yep. You said it perfect.
Okay. Can you maybe tell the listeners a little bit about what LuLaRoe is?
Yes. So LuLaRoe, it's been around for about 3 years now, and it is the kind of the philosophy there is they try to generate, I guess, some urgency around the prints and the styles. So they make, of every print that they make 5,000, and then there are consultants across the country who can sell LuLaRoe. So every consultant gets different prints. You really have no idea and no say into which print you're going to receive. You just know I want this style and these are the sizes, and then the prints show up. So it's kind of it's neat, and customers, there's a real following for it, especially here in St. Louis right now. A ton of folks are really excited about LuLaRoe, and so when I again was thinking about what type of inventory I wanted to carry in the truck. Again, kind of knowing that I have this 9 to 5, and the more that I started researching the markets and all the different inventory options, it was a little overwhelming. So hats off to all of you who do that, because that's a lot of work, and I'm sure a lot of time on your end. So I wanted to find something that I guess from a inventory standpoint was a little bit easier, and that there was a real need for, and something that I believed in. So over the past 18 months, I guess, I've lost 95 pounds. LuLaRoe is all about that body positivity and giving women that confidence. And so kind of throughout my weight loss journey, it definitely was a big confidence builder in me. And, the clothing just made me feel beautiful. And so when I thought about what I wanted for the truck and what I wanted to, my purpose and my goal, why I wanted to do this, I wanted to make other women feel beautiful. And so I wanted to, I thought LuLaRoe would be a great fit for the truck. There's not many consultants who have a mobile boutique or who have a fashion truck that sell LuLaRoe. There's a few. And so I thought, this would be a great way to be really inclusive, to have women of all shapes and sizes. It's anywhere from a size 0 to a size 24. So I could really, help a wide range of women feel beautiful. And that was really important to me, having, being plus size now, but also having been, definitely on the plus size side. It was really important to kind of have that inclusivity.
Yeah, I've never even heard of them. This is my first time. I just checked out their site. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and it's neat because they have so many different prints, and they keep coming out with new stuff. And The leggings are super great. Everyone kind of starts off with the leggings. They're really soft, unlike anything you've ever felt before. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. The clothing's just a lot of fun, and it's on trend stuff. So it's really neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all about the patterns.
All about the patterns and mixing the patterns. It's just so fun. You can definitely like have your own style. And I love seeing the women come in the truck who are a little hesitant about it at first. And then you start kind of putting looks together for them, and their eyes light up, and they come out of that fitting room and they're so excited, and just they start getting addicted to it. And, it's just a good feeling.
Do you sell jewelry as well?
I do not, no. So right now I just sell the LuLaRoe. And, another thing, when I was thinking about doing this, I was really, careful about my branding too. Some folks who sell LuLaRoe, they have mobile boutiques and they brand the outside with that. I didn't put any of that on the outside, and that was very intentional because if, 5 years down the road, this LuLaRoe trend is over, I wanted to be able to, still have the truck and then still, not have to pay that money to have it rewrapped or anything because I had a logo somewhere on the outside. So by having my own brand and by having my own name and all of that, it gives me the flexibility in case, down the road I want to kind of switch gears with inventory and do something different.
Right. That's a good idea.
So I see on Facebook you had a graphic that went out early December for your launch party that took place on December 8th. How did that go?
That was a lot of fun. So for the launch party, I had it be the day before my birthday. And so I was really excited I wanted the truck and the business and everything to launch on my birthday because I thought, how fun is that? What a great birthday present. And I'll always remember that date. So I'll never have to think, how long have I been doing this now? So getting everything ready up until that point, it was a lot of work and a lot of, just running around. And my husband kept saying, oh, just push it back. And I'm like, no, it's got to happen December 8th. That's when it has to happen. It went really great. And we had this nice space. The truck was parked in the back, and we had food, and we had a signature drink for the night. So we had the Peacock. It was like a blue martini. And I did a raffle for, free leggings for a year. So I drummed up a lot of excitement around that. And so a lot of folks came, and it was a really good time. It was a really nice way to launch the truck and to celebrate the business.
Mm. Now, I know you're in the Midwest, really. I'm East Coast, and then Astrell's Midwest in Chicago. How was it launching in the wintertime? Because I know you guys got hit a couple of times with a few snowstorms.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what, a handful, my mom being one of them, handful of folks said, why don't you wait until the spring to launch? But, it has been really great because I'm working through all the kinks now. And, that's definitely, until you're doing it, the things I've learned and just the mistakes I've made so far are just monumental. So until you're actually doing it, you don't really realize, oh, gosh, that's how this needs to happen, or this should go this way. So by launching in the winter, I feel like it's almost, it's kind of like gives me that opportunity to test some things so that when the spring comes, and from what I hear, it is really busy and there's lots of events, and, the weather is nice. I'll have worked through all of that and I'll be a pro by then. So there's been a couple events that I've had to cancel or reschedule because we've had like ice storms and stuff. So right now my main goal is I want to have the truck out once a week. So I look at the weather, I try not to look too far in advance. But I look at that 10-day forecast, I look at the weather, and I kind of plan from there. And, I had a private party that I had to cancel. And so, I wanted to make sure that, that person felt taken care of too. So I made sure to, send her a free pair of leggings for the inconvenience. But most people are really understanding, with it being the winter time and the way the weather is here in the Midwest. So, it's just kind of a nice calm before the storm. So it's given me the opportunity to really test some things and figure out what works and get a handle on the inventory and buying and all of that. So I'm good with it being being like this. It gets me ready for the spring.
And I have an online store as well.
Well, I don't have an online store yet, but what I've been doing is I have a Facebook group, a VIP group. And so I do a lot of sales there. So I do live sales. Yeah. So that actually has been really great during the winter months. So every Friday I do a live sale, and, pretty much every Friday I get new inventory in at this point. And so what I'll do is I'll do some teasers and kind of, promote kind of tease out a picture of something and kind of get people excited. And then I'll say, okay, at 9:00 Friday night, I'm going to have a live sale. And I get a lot of people watching the live sale and buying things from there. So it's been really neat. And it's a neat way to interact with your customers too, and for them to get to know you and for you to get to know them. So that's been a lot of fun. Or I'll do album sales. So I'll post an album, and folks can comment sold, and then I shoot them over an invoice, and that has really worked for me. I'd love to have a website and kind of have, that ability down the road. And so I think that's something that is going to come with time. But as of right now, I've been really content with the Facebook and the live sales.
But that's great that you're able to do that, because a lot of folks have a hard time getting engagement on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's awesome that you're getting sales from that.
Well, and again, I think some of it is really the LuLaRoe. I mean, this clothing, I'm telling you, this brand right now, people are about it, and so there's so many.
I know, like the way you keep mentioning these leggings, like I want some. Right now.
Oh my gosh, I will send you a pair. I will send you both a pair. Once I send you both a pair, you're gonna I'll get you in the VIP group, and you'll know what's up. But yeah, I mean, there's such a cult following for it. It's amazing. And so, many of my customers, almost everyone, is in multiple LuLaRoe groups. And that's kind of the beauty of this brand, is that you're not in competition with any of the other consultants, because you all have such different inventories. And so people, I think the Facebook thing has been successful because of that brand and the weight it carries right now.
Mm. And I was wondering, because I don't think we've ever talked about live sales on a podcast before. Can you just explain that in detail for someone who's never heard of a live sale before?
Sure. So basically on Facebook, so I've got a VIP group, and what I'll do is I'll kind of send out what day I'm going to do the live sale. And it's really literally me with my iPad propped up, and I have some, I hit the live button and you're live. So it's in real time. And so the customers or people at home are watching you. You can't see them, but they can see you. And I showcase different outfits, different looks, different items. And it's almost like an auction type feel. So, if I have 30 items that I'm selling that night, I'll hold it up. I'll talk about the fabric. I'll talk about the size, how it fits. I'll maybe pair it with, I'll pair it with as an outfit and showcase that. And then I have kind of a number associated with each item. And I'll say, okay, if you would like this item, it's number 93, comment sold 93, and leave your email address. And the first person to do that wins that item, essentially. And then you'll have, instances where, multiple people will comment, that they want that item. And so it's really first come, first serve. And so with LuLaRoe, again, it's not like I'm buying, or I have, 10 of that same print. So, there's a sense of urgency around it. So if I have this pair of leggings and you really love that print, that's the only pair in that print I have. So the first person who gets it, they're gone after that. So it creates this urgency, and people get really excited about it. I mean, I have customers who, if I say I'm going live at 9:00, if it's 9:01 and I'm I'm having technology issues, or, it's taking a while to kind of start up, they'll be messaging me, hey, it's 9:01. Are you still going live tonight? It really gets people excited, and it's cool because, I try to have a different theme for my live sales. So this past Friday, it was Valentine's themed. And so everything I showcased was date night looks for Valentine's. And, I'll have a glass of wine as I'm doing it. And I try to be fun and goofy, and, hopefully that works too. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with it.
It's like a modern day QVC almost.
It is. It totally is. And, it's so funny is, whatever I have found that whatever I wear during that live sale, people will message me after and say, do you have any more of that? And in most cases, I don't. And so I've started wearing items with a tag on it and saying at the end saying, and if you want this look, it is available as well. So it's totally like a modern day QVC. That's a great way to explain it.
Wow. No, I think that is amazing. I think a lot of people are going to consider doing that. I mean, it takes a little bit of work because you have to get used to being in front of the camera because I think a lot of people are shy about that. Yes.
Well, I have a broadcast journalism background, so I tend to like that kind of thing anyway.
Right.
So I don't mind the attention, I guess.
Yeah. And then are you doing it by yourself or do you have someone else kind of keeping track of like the comments and saying, okay, that one's, sold?
Yeah, my husband definitely helps me out. So he will sit, in the other room and he'll kind of, he'll be watching TV and kind of scrolling through the comments and come in and say, hey, so-and-so is asking about this. You missed it. Because sometimes those comments are kind of scrolling pretty fast if someone has a question about a size or a question about something. So kind of, keeping up with that. But so having him give me those pointers has been really helpful.
This is an awesome husband.
He is.
Duplicate him.
Ladies, I wish I could clone him. He's a keeper for sure. He is a keeper.
Now with the album sales, I'm assuming it's similar except it's not live. You're just posting pictures and whoever the first person is to comment gets the item that's featured in that picture.
Right. So yeah, with the album sales, I'll say a time. So I'll say, okay, 8:00 on Friday, I'm going to have the albums go up. And once those go up, then whoever comments first gets that item. So it really, it depends on how the week goes for me. So it's easier to do a live sale because I don't have to sit and take photos of everything. But I try to kind of alternate between the two because people probably get tired of seeing and hearing me all the time. So I want to kind of give them that option to just kind of easily scroll through and shop the albums as well. So it just kind of depends on what's going on. Last week, I worked late a couple days and, there just some busyness and things happening. And so doing a live sale was just, I needed to do a live sale. That was definitely, a quicker and easier option for me. But yeah, the album sales are just as great.
Earlier, you mentioned that there are a lot of lessons that you've learned by first starting out the truck in the wintertime. Do you mind sharing a few of those lessons that you learned that you think might be very valuable to someone else just starting out?
Yes. So definitely during the winter time, one lesson is to have a backup plan. I think the first couple times I took the truck out, no weather was going to stop me. I was determined. And I think that determination, it's good to be determined, but I think in times where there's ice on the roads and it's a danger for you to be out and your customers probably shouldn't be out, forcing yourself to try to drive a big box truck around town isn't a great idea. So I think just being, comfortable and having that plan B that you can resort back to. So after that first experience, kind of then after I thought, okay, well, you know what, if I can't make it out to my customers, let's do a live sale. Let's get online. Let's figure out, when is it going to be nice and maybe offer some deals or some specials, or if I had to cancel something, how can I make right by that customer so that they feel okay about having to cancel? So I think just having that plan B would be one. And then, the second piece is, really just doing it. I think that in so many things you can second guess, you can research until you're, blue in the face, and you can try to, just talk yourself into things, but you don't really know until you do it. So being comfortable making those mistakes, but then learning from those mistakes, I think is crucial in starting anything like this, because you are going to make mistakes. And really just, especially in the wintertime, where you park and where you decide to go. So I think the first couple times I went out, I was so excited that anyone would even have me on their property that I would just accept anything. Like, oh, you want me? Great, I'll be there, without even having any understanding of where I'd be parking. And so, I have learned that the first thing is drive by the place. Let's get a feel for could the truck park there reasonably, and is it going to be hard? I drive the truck most of the time, so I want to feel comfortable with where the truck is going to be. Am I going to have any issues parking it? And so I think just having understanding of where you're going to park is definitely key, and not feeling bad about saying no to something. If someone wants your truck somewhere and you scoped it out and it doesn't seem like a good fit, a good place, just finding an alternative solution. Again, a plan B. What can you do to engage with this customer that maybe isn't having the truck there? So
you've been in business a month. So for those of you listening out here, though you might hear this in February, it's January 16th now. So literally it's been like a month and 8 days, right? Yeah.
Gosh, it feels like so much longer.
What have you found to be, I guess, the most lucrative, in this first month? Is it going out to houses, going to events? Is it pop-up shops? Is it the live sales? Is it the album sales? What has kind of brought in the most money so far?
So I would say it's kind of a tie. So definitely an event. If I can get to an event where others, where people will be. So for instance, here in St. Louis, we have 9 fashion trucks, and a couple of the fashion trucks who were kind of the first on the scene, they've started this Shop the Truck Saturday. And so every month, all 9 of the fashion trucks get together and we have this event. And so it's held in a park and everyone gets together. They had one in November. They had one in December. December was the one that was a little iffy that I didn't make it to. But they're having one. So we have one this Saturday. So an event like that where there's multiple people advertising it, and we have this following now because there's 9 trucks here locally. We've got some food trucks coming, so kind of creating this whole event around it. Those type of things are really successful. And then the second would be the live sales. Those have done really well for me. So definitely as the spring months hit and the fall, I've already kind of been booking some events and festivals for those times. So I think, between the two, those have been the most rewarding for sure.
Well, I just have a few wrap-up questions to help the audience get to know you a little bit better. I know you listen to the podcast, so you're probably ready for these. Do you have a favorite podcast, blog, book, or TV show? And if so, what is it?
Okay, well, this is my favorite podcast, literally. So I listen to this one a lot. The other one I listen to is called Startup. And Alec Baldwin actually is the host. And he interviews different business owners or different people who kind of are in that startup world or in the business world. And so that's a pretty interesting one that I like to listen to as well. And favorite books, I work for a book company and we read a lot of books. I love business books, and probably my favorite business book is Good to Great by Jim Collins. So we referenced that a lot at work, but it talks a lot about, how can you get your company from being just a good company and kind of breaking past that barrier and becoming great, and what does it look like to be great, and how does that impact your business and your customers and your employees and all of that. So it's been neat to kind of revisit that book now and kind of starting my own business and how, the lessons that are still there, even for us small guys with one employee being myself.
Right. Cool. Well, we'll definitely include the podcast and the book in the show notes. If you could have any celebrity, entertainer, model, athlete, whoever you want, visit your mobile boutique, who would it be?
Oprah, hands down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just need her to mention it. She doesn't even have to visit the mobile boutique.
Very true. Very true. If Oprah, I need to send Oprah some leggings. That's what needs to happen.
Exactly, you do.
But I've always loved Oprah. I just, just knowing her story. I'm a big, what's the word? Comeback fighter. What's the word? I can't think of the word. But anyway, I love a good story of someone who, maybe had the odds stacked against them and they did big things. I can't think of the word, but I just love those stories. And so just kind of knowing like Oprah's background and history and how many times she was rejected and said no to, and the fact that she is who she is today and is this mogul. I mean, it's so impressive and so amazing. And the fact that she's a woman and it just, everything about her, I love. And so yeah, if I could get her in the truck and I could get her to feel a pair of these leggings, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah. And what do you like to do in your free time just to wind down and de-stress?
So I love working out, and I never thought I would say that. But the past year and a half, I've gotten really into working out. So I love to run or, lift weights or do stuff like that. So that's fun. And then I have 2 girls, so we do all kinds of fun stuff. After this, we're going to be having a tea party, and that's going to be really fun. So yeah, just hanging out with my family, running around, doing stuff with them, or working out.
Yeah. I mean, and, you mentioned earlier about losing the 95 pounds, and that is absolutely amazing. Just the discipline and the dedication to do that is, I couldn't do it. I can't give up cupcakes yet.
Hey, I haven't either. I found a way to incorporate them.
Oh, nice.
I love a good cupcake. No, it's a stubborn thing, really. My mom always said as a child I was really stubborn, and when I got my mind on something, I wouldn't let go of it. And she said, that definitely was a bad thing in many instances, but in many instances, it's a really good thing too. And so sometimes when I get really excited about something and my mind is set to it, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of, is that something a good thing or is that something not a good thing?
Right.
So.
And are you Android or iPhone? And what's your favorite app?
I am iPhone. So I have all Apple products. My favorite app is probably Canva. Because for someone who is not artistic or creative when it comes to design, for a small business owner and being able to create my own things to throw out there, my own, flyers or, marketing material or Facebook ads, any of that stuff, to be able to do that on my fingertip, with my phone in a matter of minutes is amazing. And I absolutely love it.
The final question is, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
Ooh, if I knew that I could not fail, oh gosh, I think that I would open up a couple brick and mortar stores, and I would have a few trucks, and I would really, everything I got devoted to that. I think if I knew I couldn't fail, that would definitely be something that I would be really excited about and really passionate about. And something I'm working toward, because if you knew you couldn't fail, then that means it's on your mind and you should just take those steps. What's the worst that can happen? That's something I love to ask myself. What's the worst that can happen? Is it going to hurt me, bankrupt me, kill me? That's pretty bad odds. But if the worst that can happen is that I'm going to make a mistake or get told no, then I can live with that. So.
No, I think that's a great way to live. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can the listeners find you?
So we are on Facebook, Take a Peek Mobile Boutique. We're on Instagram at STL Mobile Boutique. And we're on Twitter as well as STL Mobile Boutique.
Thank you.
Again.
All right. Thanks, ladies. Nice talking to you.
All right, folks. I hope that you guys found this episode super helpful.
Yes, one of the most important things that I think she talked about was how she does the Facebook Live sales in her VIP Facebook group and the album sales as well. It's key to get engagement from your following on social media. And the fact that she's able to actually make a profit selling is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's awesome. So listen closely and get some tips from her, because there is as Nashay would call it, great nuggets.
Yes.
My
Gold
throat is hurting
nuggets.
from saying that.
One thing that I just wanted to point out too is that she's doing this with a full-time job. So she's like, I have a full-time job I love, but this is just something else that she wanted to do as like a side passion. And that's okay. I mean, it's okay to have that as a side passion. If things change in the future, that's fine. But that's just to let you know it doesn't have to be all or nothing. But if you choose to do, just to do the fashion truck, it's okay. But if you choose to split between the two, that's completely fine. Also, do what's right for you.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, be sure to support the show, support our podcast, people, and go to Patreon and pledge a donation to us. You can go to startafashiontruck.com/Patreon. Also, in our show notes, there is a big blingy mic in the show notes that says help support the show. You can just click on that microphone and it'll link you right over to Patreon.
Yeah. And then, we haven't had one in a while, but I just wanted to remind people too that if they go to the podcast page, like you go to startafashiontruck.com and just click podcast, there is a place where you can actually record a question. Like, you do it right from your phone or you could do it from your computer. And you can ask us a question and we'll answer it on air. Or if we have a guest that's better suited to answer it, we'll play it for them so they can answer it on air. So just remember that option is always there.
And if the question is directed towards a specific episode or a specific guest, please let us know what that episode is or who the guest is that you are referencing so that we'll know how to properly answer the question.
Okie dokie, Smokey. Well, please rate us 5 stars on iTunes. It helps the show. Like, that actually is like gold too, because the more ratings we get, the higher we rank, and of course, the more listens. So if you shared this episode with friends and family, that helps us too. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast, we really thank all of you guys who've already taken the time to rate us, and some have even gone even farther to write a review with that rating, which you don't have to, but thanks for going that extra mile.
All right, folks, until next time, thanks for parking here.